but I'm starting to think that the assassination of Charlie Kirk was something akin to a regicide, right? The assassination of a king to install a new ruler who the king would have never approved of. Anyways, back at headquarters, I am told it's business as usual, and it's kind of giving me like, I don't know, LBJ when he gets sworn in that famous picture. Unfortunately, sworn in. Unfortunately, of course, he's sad in this photo. Gosh, he's obviously not wanting to be the president of the United States. JFK was shot and killed, and now LBJ has to step up, unfortunately. But I gotta be honest, I wasn't there. I don't think LBJ was actually that upset. I don't know why. Vibes. The vibes just aren't vibing for me in that picture, knowing, as I do and as Charlie did believe, that LBJ was involved, which then implicates the feds as having been involved, which then implicates the Dallas police station as being involved. I believe Israel was obviously involved, that they were the ones that wanted him dead. When Ben came out swinging, I was going, oh, something's very wrong here. Basically, Erica here is pulling the LBJ, and what I mean by that is as soon as LBJ got into office after JFK's assassination, he reversed course on every single one of JFK's policies. JFK's enemies seemingly became LBJ's friends. Erica appears to be doing that to me.
She has decided that she is going to turn her fire on the widow. Don't believe me? I know, listen, there are a lot of people who listen to Candace. She has a huge audience. Take her at her word. Here is what she is doing. Here is the trailer for her hot garbage fire of nonsense conspiracy mongering defecation. Here is the trailer she just released for her series of attacks. It's going to be an entire series of attacks on Erica Kirk. Again, she's been retailing and implying and basically saying out loud a lot of this stuff on her show for months. 4 months. People cannot claim that they were ignorant that this was happening. They know it was happening, and they let it go. We'll get to them in a moment. But here is the trailer that she released yesterday.
President Trump says that Kirk has died after he was shot from a nearby building.
After being shot at Utah Valley University.
The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead.
The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
I didn't even get to give him a kiss goodbye.
That young man, I forgive him.
Take your time.
Erica Kirk has been named the new CEO of Turning Point USA.
My husband's dead. Like, I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's dead.
It's weird to say excited.
Describes her husband's funeral as the event of the century. Merch, hats.
We have 50,000 plus hat orders.
Nobody knows why she's out there in a glittering pantsuit in a recreated tent that her husband tragically was murdered in, throwing merch out.
Everyone grieves differently, so if someone's acting weird, don't read into that.
Zionists, the Prime Minister of Israel, all lied through their teeth about Charlie Kirk.
Her operation was in Constanta, the epicenter of Romania's trafficking scandal.
We are conversations to have with a 15-year-old. I'm going to touch your butt.
$8.6 million to their own shell company. What is going on?
We have nothing to hide. My aunt used to tell me, never do something that you don't want on the front page of a newspaper.
So that's what Candace Owens has been spending her days doing, and millions of people, of course, have been watching her as she's been doing this. Apparently, she has been calling Erica Kirk a lesbian pedophile, grooming a 15-year-old. She is suggesting, of course, she has been suggesting for a while, that TPUSA was complicit, if not in the murder of Charlie Kirk, then in the cover-up of the murder of Charlie Kirk.
To the hateful people whom I used to call friends, who have been all over the internet trying to shame me and say that no one should ever listen to this program again because I haven't spoken out on the Erica-Candace conflict. I don't have any pearls of wisdom other than go fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves. You have no fucking clue what's going on. You don't know what I do behind the scenes. And your world is so myopically online, you fail to understand there are real humans involved here. And actually being able to touch grass and have relationships with them, which is something I'm doing, could prove to actually benefit all involved.
Those who say, Glenn Beck hasn't spoken out about this and he's got to speak out about it. Go to hell. Who are you to tell me what I have to do?
So in any event, Candace knows I disagree with her on this. Petty internet people want to turn that into a cat fight between Candace and yours truly, which will fail. She and I actually have only gotten closer over the past couple of months as people try to make me attack her. So fuck off, okay?
You've inferred perhaps Israeli involvement in some way. You've certainly inferred a lot of Turning Point USA involvement. That's a lot of people getting involved here in the murder of Charlie Kirk potentially. But what I'm really curious about is, given you've been all over all this and you've been airing all these theories, well, which one is it? It can't be all of these things. Is it somebody?
Well, of course,
is it someone at Turning Point USA? I mean, who do you actually believe was behind this?
Of course, it can be all of those things. And what's really ironic here is that there's a clip of Charlie in the last months leading up to his death where he speaks about the JFK assassination. And he says that multiple countries were involved, multiple people were involved, the LBJ was involved, the feds were involved. And he's correct. That is what it means. When there is a conspiracy, there are multiple people that are involved. Of course, there's not one person on a grassy knoll who shot JFK.
Well, it might have been that.
There are people who had to agree to it. There had people who would have had to. The Dallas police were involved.
Candace,
I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question. You're asking, why aren't you just going to point to one person? That to me, even that seems like a part of telling people not to believe their own gut. Obviously, for this to have been pulled off, there had to have been multiple people involved. There had to have been people at Turning Point that were complicit in having this happen. Now, who knows what their motivations are? Doesn't mean maybe this person's like, hey, I'm going to help you.
Hang on. Okay, let me stop you. Hang on. When you say obviously somebody at Turning Point, you are accusing right now people that worked with Charlie Kirk at the company he built, which is now run by his widow. You are directly accusing people in that company of being complicit in his murder, right?
I want to just be very clear connecting that dot. So I said that when there is a conspiracy, of course, there are going to be multiple people involved. So applying that same logic to JFK, right? Knowing, as I do and as Charlie did, believe that LBJ was involved, which then implicates the feds as having been involved, which then implicates the Dallas police station as being involved. I believe Israel was obviously involved, that they were the ones that wanted him dead for saying that what is now AIPAC should have to register under FARA. So there's motive. There are people that have to be involved on the ground that day. There are people that have to be willing to allow the perpetrators to get away. There has to be media that's complicit, and that's what literally Operation Mockingbird was. It was established to persuade the public.
Candace, here's the problem.
Well, hang on. It was established. So everyone here's the problem with everything you're saying in this massive cover-up.
You keep saying, and this is where people think you're prone to endless conspiracy theories for whatever reason.
Okay.
Is you keep using the phrase they have to have been involved. So by that yardstick, what you're saying is with JFK's assassination, and we recently had a lot of the files released, which did not conclusively prove any of these things, right? Now, again, I don't know what happened to JFK, but the one possibility you've not ruled in is it was just as simple as Lee Harvey Oswald. It might have been. We don't know. Right, so when you say the media has to have been involved, Lyndon Johnson has to have been. But my problem is you're stating all these things as facts.
We can't do 63. It's such a nonsense to say that it was Lee Harvey Oswald acting.
You don't know that.
That's just such a nonsense. I do know it was not Lee Harvey Oswald acting by himself, and then that required national security to lock down the files, and that required the feds to impart, the CIA to impart Operation Mockingbird to convince the public that it was. You can't go against. There's a grieving widow. Don't look further into it. Don't believe your own eyes.
But let me just say, this is your Candace.
It was a grand conspiracy that killed JFK.
Candace,
I am going to say that confidently. And I just think we have to grow up. We have to grow up. We can't keep pretending Lee Harvey Oswald killed JFK.
Fine.
We can't keep doing that.
That is your opinion. An opinion.
No, that's a fact.
No, it's not a fact.
It's a fact.
It's not a fact.
It's a fact.
The whole reason there are still conspiracy theories about JFK's assassination is none of this is a fact. You are floating it as your theory.
Because the feds are never going to admit to their own crimes. That is the reason we're still discussing it.
That may be the case, but you can't prove that.
Yeah, well, I can prove common sense that Lee Harvey Oswald did not stand on a
But
grassy
you admit it's your
knoll
opinion.
and assassinate a president. And
Okay.
LBJ, like Charlie says in that clip, which people should go pursue.
Yes, I know Charlie
all
said
of the
that.
weird things that happened that day that were unusual, and LBJ
All right, but let's
decided
get
not
back
to
to
ride that day.
Let's get
and then
back to-
suddenly he reversed course on all of JFK's
let's move on
policies,
from
and he was
JFK.
fighting AIPAC. Israel killed JFK.
All right.
Now, going back to your point about Turning Point USA,
Yes.
and the ridiculous idea that implicating, this is a $100 million organization.
Yeah.
Common sense. If this was not even a high-profile political assassination, and this was just a guy who worked at a company that was $100 million, right? Common sense inquiry is, was there a financial motive for this person to be dead, okay? This is like Sherlock Holmes 101. And this is what I mean when I say that the public no longer trusts the media because you're acting us to be stupid. And we don't want to do that. We actually don't want to pretend that we're clinical idiots who can't assess things and go, oh, there could be a massive motive here to have Charlie dead, especially when it seems very strange that Bibi Netanyahu, when nobody even had a clue of what happened, this guy's doing the rounds on Fox News and saying, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk. That's kind of weird. Did you feel compelled to jump on to Piers Morgan's show and say, just so everybody knows, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk? Why would he say that?
So
Why was he so
I
involved that somebody who's
Candace,
fighting
I
a
wanna get-
97,000 front war?
Candace, I want to get to the reality of what you're actually saying. So when you say that somebody at Turning Point USA, Charlie's company, was complicit in his murder, who? Who was?
I believe that there were multiple people at Turning Point who are, as I have said many times, my exact words are, they are engaged in a cover-up of what happened to Charlie on that day.
No, but who?
Okay, you guys, there is a very strange thing happening right now where a young woman with absolutely zero professional qualifications has been inserted at the top of a charity organization that pulled in over $250 million last year. And the media is telling you that you have no right to know or to ask anything about her. The argument being made is that her husband was murdered. Therefore, she has a right to assume the position. And despite the fact that Turning Point USA is a literal charity, and therefore it's not even have to pay tax on that $250 million plus or pay tax on the alleged future billions that it's due to rake in thanks to a deal with a man named Pierre, these talking heads are claiming that the public simply wanting to ensure the person who is running that organization is, I don't know, at a bare minimum, moderately honest about who she says she is. No, that inquiry makes you a monster. So I guess your job is to head to work 9 to 5, receive a flurry of unsolicited emails and text messages reminding you that Charlie Kirk, the innocent man that you watched be executed in broad daylight live, you're to be reminded that that was her Charlie. My Charlie needs your help. There's virtually nothing that the feds are telling us about his murder that makes any objective sense. But if you're feeling weird about any of that, you're reminded constantly that she is a grieving widow. She's a grieving widow. That sentence, in my opinion, is this year's Trust the Science. She's a grieving widow. The mainstream media, of course, Zionists implied, are effectively telling you to roll up your sleeves and get the vaccine again, dopes. Tyler Robinson did it. Erica Kirk is grieving. Please allow her to do so in the privacy of the $1 billion charity that she took over. Remember when they did the 6 feet social distancing thing? They cast that spell. Let your granddad die alone in the hospital. If you desire to see your grandma this Thanksgiving, it's because you're a demon from the gates of hell. Yeah. Resist your human instincts. Obey the government. It's the same kind of messaging, the same kind of emotional manipulation, but it's a new year. Still have questions or concerns about who Erica Kirk is and why she seems to have lied many times on record? Well, you're Satan, and I'm sorry that you are. And also, I would like to remind you that you are destroying Charlie's legacy. Now, it is very important that I remind you, we haven't even said anything yet. A 2-minute trailer resulted in one of the most aggressive, preemptive PR strikes that I have ever seen.
My aunt used to tell me, never do something that you don't want on the front page of a newspaper.